Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday night Did You Know? This week, what we're talking about is, did you know dreams are not prophetic? So many people talk about dreams being prophetic, but we do need to know that the information they do hold is extremely valuable. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight in our discussion. So I do want to begin again by talking about subscribing. Now, this is really important. So today with subscribing becomes really important because I am going to shift gears a little bit. I've been doing these hacks once a week and I don't really have a ton of views on them. So what I might do is I might shift the amount of time or shift the content a little. For those of you who know, I have started a new nonprofit for a free online recovery program, and I might utilize some of the time to benefit that. So I might start talking a lot about the brain at that level. Now, probably 99% of people have some addictive tendencies, whether it's TV or shopping or patterns, even their identity. We become addicted to things, which basically means all addiction is that safety mechanism. So I might go a little deeper down that alley and service that nonprofit a bit. So this is what I'm going to say about that. If you are not subscribed to YouTube, it is a good idea to follow me on social media because I do put in updates. I also put in updates on the website. So if you're following those, you'll have information. But I have decided I'm closing out Meetup. I am no longer listing my events there. I'll leave them there with the link back. I'm going to be putting a calendar on my website this week, but I just had a really interesting week where I've had some of my own confirmation biases that I needed to stop and look at in a very deep way. And it has brought about the decision. Well, actually, it's not brought about. I decided through a lot of deep contemplation how I'm moving forward. And through that deep contemplation, I've come up with a whole new approach to how I'm going to be doing things. So in that, I'll be keeping you updated. I'll keep you posted on what I'm doing, but I am going to be shifting gears a little bit. So I do want to let you know that will be happening. So keep an eye, subscribe. You don't get pinged. Nothing happens to you if you just subscribe to a YouTube channel. All your subscription is doing is the same thing. So if you're on Facebook and you like certain things on Facebook, then Facebook knows what you like. And so when you do a search, they'll feed to that more. And YouTube's doing the same thing. So subscribe is the same as liking, but instead of liking a single video, you're liking a channel. And then you get more channels that are like that channel. Also, that channel becomes easier to find. I do want to let you know about that. Think of subscribing to the channel as liking a page on Facebook. The algorithms aren't much different. If you do want to be notified of updates and what I'm doing and when I'm live, if you want YouTube to just tell you when I'm live so you don't have to track what I'm doing, that's when you want to hit that bell notification icon. And all they'll do is send you, they'll say Linda's live, same as Facebook did, right? When I went live on Facebook, people that subscribe to me get that notification that says Linda's live right now. The same thing occurs on YouTube. You'll get a little notification to your phone or to your email telling you that I'm live. And then you can either watch me live or you can go back and watch the video later. There are several YouTubers I subscribe to, and I get notified when they're updating stuff. And when I don't want their stuff anymore, I just go unsubscribe. I get the notification, I click on it, and then I hit unsubscribe. It's really simple. So that is there. I also want to talk about contributions. I have been giving away free content for almost 4 years now. At the end of this month, It'll be my 4-year anniversary of doing this. And I want to give away free content for people that really don't have any money. I know there was a point in my life where I needed help so much. And so I want to help those people that need it. But also, for those people I've given to, for those people that have benefited from my gifts, I need help to provide that help to others. It's the concept of nonprofit giving, that nonprofits don't just operate independently. They don't just have money to spend. They have to raise the money to operate so they can provide services. So if you've ever achieved anything, gotten things for free that you appreciate, whatever you give back for those things helps keep them free for the next person. So if you're able to, there is a link in the comments section. It's not in the live chat, but it's in the description. Pardon me, not the comment section. In the description of the video, on every video I have, that's live. I haven't done the other videos yet, but all my live videos have that link. If you could contribute, it means so much to me when I see people able to give back, because it tells me they get it, that they get what I'm doing and why I provide what I provide, and that it's important to them, and that I matter, and that my message matters. So that I just wanted to let you know that's there. There are multiple ways to contribute. If it's just $1, I have a thing on my page that can contribute to $1. If you want a tax break for your contribution, go to the nonprofit page, yourwayrecovery.org, and contribute there. But all of these contributions help me be of service to humanity. So I just want to say thank you to those of you who have contributed. So since I've started reaching out and reminding people that I need help doing this, there have been contributions that are just so moving to me. And so those of you that have contributed, I just want to say thank you. I want you to know how much that means to me. So I'm past that point. What we're going to go back to now is we're going to talk about the did you know. And so again, today we're talking about dreams. And in this conversation, what I want to talk about first is why we dream. So what causes us to dream? So this connects a lot with the conversation I've had before about sleep. So sleep, the body doesn't need sleep. In fact, sleep is detrimental to the body. If you oversleep, your muscles start to atrophy. Think of a person in a coma. People in comas have issues with their muscles. They are affected by being in the coma, right? So because of that, the human body, I'm going to change that, not because of that, but the human body requires movement. It requires that we work the muscles. So the more we sit around, the less we move the body, the worse the muscle structure becomes, the worse the circulation becomes. The body doesn't work well, because the human body was designed to be in motion. It was designed to move. So sleep, they studied for a long time and were questioning, why do we sleep? And the reason we sleep is mental. So people that suffer sleep deprivation, it affects their mental capabilities. So they have psychosis. Now, it does affect the body over time because the brain controls the body, right? So it does affect the functions in the brain that are controlling the body, but the actual muscles and stuff aren't what needs sleep. So what happens is, as they've studied sleep patterns, what happens is pressure builds up in the brain. Now, they have no definitive proof of this pressure, but it makes sense that new information is being absorbed, because what happens when we go to sleep is the hippocampus engages, and it stores information to the neurons that are already existing in the brain. So you have this pressure build up, then that pressure, then that new information, the new information that's in the brain while you're going to sleep, the hippocampus acts like a filing system. So what it does is it says, okay, this thing that happened today goes with this, connects with this memory. This goes with this rule. So we have all this data in our brain, and the hippocampus is organizing what happened to us throughout the day. And so that's kind of why sometimes if you're in something where you're receiving a lot of information, so you see a lot of kids in school fall asleep, it's because they're absorbing so much information that the brain now, the pressure builds up and the hippocampus says, I need to organize this information. That's also why if we do something right before we go to sleep, we retain it more. So if you the last 20 minutes before you go to sleep, whatever you're doing, your brain retains better than what it does throughout the day, because those are the most accessible, right? That those memories are accessible to that part of the brain. So you have two things happening. First of all, you have the hippocampus organizing, just filing, just connecting neurons, linking information, right? Now, one of the things we need to remember is that while it's doing this, it's accessing three types of memory. So memory, don't think of memory as like this video of your life necessarily. Think of memory like you would think of memory in a computer. So it's data stored to both tell us how to operate and to problem solve, which I'm going to get into in a minute. So those three types of memory that the hippocampus is accessing. So this information that the brain is storing there's three types, which are family history. So our ancestral data, this is our primal memories. I'm going to talk about in a second why we do that. The second part of memory that the brain accesses is experiential memory. So what are my personal experiences with this information? So I've interacted with the world out there. What new information do I have from my interaction, right? Because you have the ancestral memory, but then you have your experiences. And then you have the current environment. So the brain is always measuring homeostasis. It's always measuring the body's condition. How calm am I? How stressed am I? How cold is it outside? How full is my stomach? So if, as I'm going to sleep, my brain is in this space that says everything is good, I'm relaxed, I'm centered, my amygdala isn't triggered, I've had food for the day, I've had plenty of water, it has all this where everything's good, it's going to use that information, the current conditions of your state, your homeostatic state, in its decisions of how to store memory. So it does that. Now, the other thing it does, and this will take me back to accessing that primal memory. So our brain is genius in so many ways, and one of them is the fact that it uses the sleep time to make decisions on how to create more safety. So here we are, and we are living, and the brain has all this information. Now, all the information the brain is making is off safety. So think back to when we were nomadic, when we didn't have modern technology, right? We were just living off the land, right? And so the brain at that time would say, okay, I'm living off the land, and all of a sudden there's some new tiger in town. The brain is going to go, oh, okay, there was a stress state today with that tiger. And so while I'm sleeping, it is going to figure out the tiger. It's going to try and come up with a solution for the tiger. So it's accessing these three fields to make decisions on how to create more safety. And this is why a lot of psychology says if you ask a question before you go to sleep, you'll wake up with the answer, because that's the job of the brain. So the subconscious mind is this supercomputer. It's far more adept than the conscious mind. And so what it's doing is it's taking all the information. It's taking how our homeostatic state is, how our environment is. It's thinking about how our ancestral history, our personal perspective of life, and it's going to create as much safety as it can from that. And that's why we have bad dreams. So generally speaking, if you haven't suffered trauma, nightmares, having bad dreams is mostly children. As we grow, we tend to have less bad dreams because our brain feels safer and safer. Children are vulnerable. They're at risk because they can't survive on their own. And so their brain knows that. And so it tends to have more nightmares because it's trying to figure out how to create safety. So of course, if we are a person that suffered trauma, our brain is caught in that loop of trying to feel safe, not because this repressed memory is continually forcing it, but because we keep triggering the fear throughout the day. So now if we live in this state where we are repeatedly having stress in the day, so if we have a tiger that is finances, if we have a tiger that is relationships, if we have a tiger that is our neighbor, if we have a tiger that is COVID, if we have a tiger that is I don't feel safe in the community because it judges me for the color of my skin or for my sexual preferences, right? If we have these tigers chasing us, then our dreams are going to be about the brain trying to organize a solution to that problem. Now, while the brain is doing that, information is leaking out into the conscious mind. That's when we dream, right? So what's happening is our brain is shutting off our consciousness, but as we come back, right, we go through stages of sleep. So you have the initial stage where you're starting to fall asleep, and then you have REM sleep and you have deep sleep. You have all these stages of sleep. I talk about those in the sleep hack that I did. I did a brain hack about sleep. I talk about those, but I don't want to get into those. I just want to stick with dreams this time. But what's happening is as we're coming out those deep processing levels of sleep, that deep sleep state, as we're transitioning from deep sleep to becoming more conscious, the conscious mind picks up on some of that processing. And that's why dreams are so scattered and weird, because the brain is accessing so much information and all we're getting is bits of it that we can't comprehend, right? The conscious mind needs to understand things. They need to fit into a structure. But the subconscious mind is so vast, there's no structure there. There's no way to comprehend it. So what's happening is you're having this moment where the brain is organizing and saying, how do I feel safe? And it's going to problem solve. And so what's really amazing with this, and I want to talk about the fact that they can feel prophetic. I actually used to have dreams that then would then seem to have happened. So whenever I had deja vu, I remembered when I dreamt it. And when I still used drugs, certain drugs caused me to live in states of deja vu. So there were certain hallucinogenics that I took that I would have deja vu the whole time I was high. And I started to think it was vision. I started to think it was this prophetic mind. But I'm not a person who believes in destiny. And so that always felt off to me. It always felt there was a disconnect there because I'm not a person that believes my life is planned out. And I'm not a person that believes in traditionally in free will in the way it's put out. But I am a person that believes in it in the concept of individuality. So I don't believe our lives are destined. There's something that tells me who I'm going to be a year from now. But what happens, they've done these studies on deja vu, and they've discovered that what's happening is we're having a conscious experience of the hippocampus opening up the memory that is associated with that information and storing it. So what we're actually experiencing deja vu is the experience of storage, memory storage. So the brain is experiencing this moment of actually storing the memory. And so our conscious mind thinks it happened before, but all we're doing is we're having an experience of being conscious of the subconscious mind storing the memory. And that's not generally a part of consciousness because that's not the purpose of consciousness. So we don't always have it a lot, but some people can have conditions like I did when I took that hallucinogenic where they live in that deja vu state all the time, and they tend to lose their grasp on linear thinking, right? And start to think that the world doesn't exist linearly. And so it becomes this misunderstanding of what the brain's doing. So the important thing here is the fact that using the dreams as a prophecy is committing yourself to incremental growth, because what your brain is accessing is memory. So it's accessing data it already has, which means you're not having any new development. You're not having any new possibility come forth. And so you really are just in a cyclic experience, a cyclic loop of information. And so what I want to dig into next is I want to talk about how to use dreams, because the dreams are a tremendous tool. Dreams are a great opportunity for us to have information, but I want to talk about the best way to use that information. So first thing I'm going to say is dream books further limit the potential of how you use your dreams. So I talk about this. I've talked about it before. I'm going to talk about the bee again. If I'm a person, so I read a dream journal once that said, bees, if you dream about bees, it means you're busy. And it didn't feel right to me. And then all of a sudden I thought, but if I'm a beekeeper, bees mean resources to me. And if I'm allergic enough to carry an EpiPen, bees mean death to me. They mean anaphylactic shock. They mean I could die. So a bee to this person means life, resources. A bee to this person means death. So when either one of them dreams about a bee, I don't think that they are connecting at all to the concept of being busy. And this is what I'm talking about. So we sometimes fear through our own individuality that we can't figure something out. But the purpose of contemplation like this is to develop that ability. Then instead of just trusting someone who wrote a book, that we can find our own solution. And that's the part of the brain we're developing here. So to use books or talismans or things like that to interpret our brain's experience is to box it into somebody else's definition of reality, somebody else's experience. And so the things I recommend for interpreting dreams, because dreams are highly valuable. You're getting access to the subconscious mind's problem-solving capability, right? That's what I talked about in the beginning, is the brain is problem-solving while you sleep, and that information is leaking out because it was figuring out a solution. So the first thing in dream interpretation, one of the first, so I had psychological advice. So this is coming from psychology, this dream interpretation technique, and I loved it. So when I was in therapy, my therapist gave it to me, and it's at the time, it was really powerful. I really don't worry about my dreams much now. I use meditation practices instead. But for dreams, if you love to interpret dreams, one of the ways that is suggested by psychology is write down all the people that are in your dream, and then imagine you're each person. So if there's a person doing this thing, what if that was me doing that thing? What would that tell me? Now, I do like this, except for two of the things I talked about. It is good, it is fun, and it is way better than going and finding a book about dreams and taking someone else's interpretation. But the limitations it has is that we're not only working with our own memory here, we're working with ancestral memory. So if I think of who I am today, the identity I am today as the characters in those dreams, I can get some perspective of myself, but I also might start to claim some identity that doesn't belong to me. And we do this too much already. We adopt so many neurons that we tend to think of as defining who we are, that we often limit the full potential of who we can be. And so there is that to consider. So I have a second suggestion that I like even better, but this is a fun one to try, and I did get some great insights trying it. The second one is that, again, came from psychology, is complete the dream. So while the hippocampus is processing, what it's doing is processing the problem, trying to come up with a solution. Well, if your brain was in the process of trying to come up with a solution, the dream was on a track to be that solution. And so I used to have night terrors, really bad, when I had CPTSD. And this was a practice given to me by my therapist, that whenever I would wake up from a nightmare, to finish that dream. And so I had a lot of dreams about being attacked, being assaulted, being in danger, being chased. And so I would wake up from the dream and I would find a place to be safe. At times, I would kill my attacker to feel safe. I mean, I can end that dream however I want, but as long as it ends in a place where I feel safe. So just pick up wherever, if you have nightmares or things that feel incomplete, or dreams that are distressing, finish the dream. The brain doesn't know the difference between imaginings, dreams, and reality. This is, again, I say it all the time, scary movies wouldn't scare you if your brain didn't believe there was a threat. Your brain isn't going, oh, it's a scary movie, I'm supposed to be afraid. No, it's watching the movie and getting triggered, and so it's having a fight or flight response. It's reacting to what's happening on the screen like it's reality. That's why most of us don't dream about TVs and cell phones in our dreams. We all use cell phones all day long, but we often don't have them in our dreams because our brain is interpreting what's on the cell phone as something other than a tool. It's thinking of the cell phone as another level of reality, right? And so we watch videos and we engage with them. Now, the more our brain matures and more separate ourselves from from being stimulated by outside sources, the more we do that, that changes. But completing dreams is a great one. The third one I'm going to give you is my favorite. This, to me, is the most powerful use of dreams that you can or a powerful tool that you can utilize. It gives us an opportunity to open the subconscious mind back up to let it finish telling us what it was telling us. So it has all these crazy sporadic things. Now we can go, wait, that's too crazy. What does this mean? What did this piece mean? Why did that happen? So what this is called a dialoguing practice. It is a phase 3 practice from my program. And so what you do is you either connect with the characters in the dream or a narrator from the dream. So you sit down. Again, it's good to write or type. Articulation is important for the brain health. And then say you have a dream and there are characters in it. You go to those characters and say, okay, why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you do that? Or what would be a good way for me to utilize that in my life? Or you have a narrator and you rewatch that dream in your memory with the narrator. And you say, wait. Do you see what just happened there? Why did that happen? And what fear is it addressing? And what is it helping me do? And this is a great way to get inspiration, innovation, because this is the part of the brain that feeds us that. So again, either dialogue with the characters or a narrator. Don't just try and figure it out yourself, because your conscious mind doesn't know. That's why your subconscious mind is trying to solve the problem. If you knew how to solve these tigers, if you knew how to not be stressed financially or about relationships or about that neighbor. If you knew that in your conscious mind, you would have already solved it. Our brain is designed to always be as happy as possible. It's always going to lean into wanting to be happier. So if you consciously could figure out that dream, you wouldn't be having the dream. So it's really important to access the subconscious mind. So have it just be, okay, I have my dream narrator and I can make it whoever. It could be James Earl Jones, right? He has that great movie voice. It could be anyone. It could be an ancestor, our family, guardian angels, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just you have this narrator and you go, okay, I don't understand why this is happening. What does this mean? And then once they tell you what it's mean, ask the question, what can I do? What can I do in my life to make this shift? You'll find that you grow by leaps and bounds instead of incrementally, like if you were trying to figure it out yourself, because you're accessing the subconscious resource. Because we have to remember that the hippocampus doesn't only work in our dreams, right? The hippocampus is busy in our dreams organizing, but all day long it's pulling data in and out. So there was a great way I heard it explained, which is about imagining your prefrontal cortex like a work desk. So your conscious mind is a work desk. And what's happening is the subconscious mind is feeding information to that work desk. So if you ask me, Linda, what color is your shirt? And I say purple, that didn't all happen in my subconscious mind. My subconscious mind knows purple. I had to learn that as a child, arduously. Learn the word purple and that it goes with a certain color spectrum. Then when you ask me what color is your shirt and I look at it, the subconscious mind is going, oh, files, right? The hippocampus is like, oh, that color information's in this file, pulls out the word purple, throws it in my prefrontal cortex, and I say purple. All that happens quickly, right? So the hippocampus is working all the time. But it's not just when we dream, but we need to be able to utilize its tools to take advantage in our life instead of limit it. So I think that's it. I wanted to make sure you had those tools. So again, you can ask, what if each character is me? And is there anything I can learn from that? You can finish the dream. This is really good if you have bad dreams. So even if you're going to do the dialoguing, this is really great if you have bad dreams. You will eventually stop having bad dreams because your brain will realize that that's not the best way to figure things out. And then the dialoguing is an absolutely brilliant way. So I think I'm going to let that be it for tonight. I am going to see those people in the private group at 7. We are not meeting on Zoom tonight, so if you didn't see that text, I will be sending out a meeting invite. And then again, if you can contribute, if you appreciate what I give here, even if it's just the smallest amount. I used to do these sessions in person, and people would be moved by the experience to contribute money so that I could continue to provide free resources. And so there is that link in the description the minute the video ends. And so if you found value in this and you feel capable, if you don't feel capable, I'm here for that. So this isn't about applying pressure. This is really about just saying, if you feel you can and you feel you're gaining value from what I offer, I appreciate any contributions I can get. I'm going to remind everybody that the last 20 seconds of the video there is a subscribe button there. There's also a playlist for you to go ahead and check out the other brain hacks if you'd like. And there is a link to the first session of the Relief of Suffering Introduction to Brain Chemistry class. If you want the content for that class, you can find it on my website at inspiredevolutionproject.com under the free courses. So I think that's it for this. I really appreciate everyone being here, and I look forward to seeing those group members tonight, and the rest of you, I will see you next week when we will be talking about how to shrink your amygdala. So again, I hope everybody has an amazing evening, and I will look forward to connecting with all of you again soon.